ఇలా డిఫరెంట్ ఉంటే చేస్తున్నాను. ఇలా డిఫరెంట్గా ఉండేలా చేస్తున్నాను. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the afternoon session. Our speaker is ready. Welcome you, sir. Now I request Mrs. N. Soumya to introduce our speaker to the participants. Over to Soumya.
Thank you, ma'am.
No audio.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Myself and Soumya, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE. It's my privilege to introduce our speaker, Mr. D. Ramesh Garu. Thank you, ma'am. Myself and Soumya, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE. It's my privilege to introduce our speaker, Mr. D. Ramesh Garu. He has completed PG Diploma in Embedded Systems Design from CDAC. He completed MTech from JNTU Kakinada. He is a technical trainer on embedded systems and worked in Red Pine Signals, Acrevia Automation as a R&D engineer. He designed and developed IoT-based products. He is having 5+ years of experience in IoT development and training. He is founder of and director of Red Silicon Labs. His technical skills included MATLAB, Arduino processing IDE, Python scripting. He trained corporate employees, students on embedded systems design and IoT. Thank you, sir. Over to Ramesh, sir.
Awesome. Very thank to Soumya Garu. And am I audible? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. I hope you are enjoying all the sessions, right? So the topic is just wait. Share the screen. Is it visible my desktop? No.
Sir, you can minimize.
So, very good afternoon to all. The topic is embedded programming for the smart sensor. So, Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. We can
Audio, ma'am?
continue.
Audio, ma'am? Okay. Is it really need embedded programming for the smart sensors? Yes. What is the difference between the conventional sensors and the smart sensor means? It includes microprocessors and some communication devices. So if you go for if you see the definition of the smart sensor, smart sensor is a combination of sensor and processing circuit and interface device and one processor and communication device, and it includes actuators also. So a normal sensor cannot take any action, but a smart sensor can take decision and can implement the actions. Like suppose, take an example. If you install a smart sensor in your room, if you set low and high temperature ranges, high temperature thresholds, whenever it crosses the high temperature threshold, it can take the decision to turn on the fans or AC in your room, and it can turn off the fan or AC in your room if it crosses the low temperature threshold. But a conventional sensor cannot take these type of decisions, and you can also take decision from anywhere from the world by seeing your smart sensor web server. You can take these decisions. So that is the facility of the smart sensor when compared to the conventional sensor. So these sensors we are calling as SOC. SOC means system on the chip. Why we are calling the SOC sensors? All these circuitries, which are the sensor and the signaling circuit and interface device and processing circuit and communication device and actuators, all these circuits are combined together on a single chip. That's why smart sensor we are calling it as SOC sensors are intelligent sensor. Okay. So next, uh, so this is the process flow of the smart sensor. So smart sensor can sense the physical parameters and convert it into electrical parameter. It will process the color data from the sensor, and it can display or it can send to server, or it can take decision like switching on the relay or rotating the actuators. So it can take the decision. So like this, it has some more features compared to the conventional sensors. So smart sensor architecture is, if you see the smart sensor architecture, so first circuitry is sensor, and second one is the conditioning circuit, and third one is the processing circuit, and fourth one is the communication circuit. And if you want, you can add the actuators, or you can take display any output device you can place at communication circuitry. So from on the second and third, you have listened about the smart sensor. I won't discuss about the sensors in details about, but I will discuss about the conditioning circuit and the processing and communication. So what is the importance of the programming means? It involves processing circuit. Processing circuit collect the data from the conditioning circuit, and it take the action to send a server or to activate the accelerator or to display sensor data on the display. So all these circuitries come on a single chip. When IoT comes in uh, comes in picture, the smart sensors technology is growing. Yes, who can convert a conventional sensor like BST11 is a conventional sensor. It can give just temperature and humidity on analog mode. but it can't take any actions like sending to server, or it cannot activate any relay or actuators. So we can convert DHT11 sensor to a smart sensor by adding microcontroller plus communication device. So what are the communication device means? We have so many communication devices like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, RF, and the latest technology is LoRa. LoRa means low power long range. Bluetooth, Zigbee, and RF can communicate up to 10 meters. But when LoRa it is also operating on the RF frequency, but it can communicate up to 20 kilometers on the line of sight. So like this, by adding extra hardware to the conventional sensor, we can convert conventional sensors to smart sensor. So this is the complete hardware I'm showing, which we can call it as smart sensor. So this black one is Node MCU. Node MCU means it includes microprocessor and it includes Wi-Fi, and recently they have developed in one chip. They are providing microprocessor plus Wi-Fi plus Zigbee plus and Bluetooth. So any wireless sensor we can access any, and they are developing for any two wireless sensor can activate at a time. And here is the thermocoupler, or you can take any RTD sensor. Next, MAX 6675 is the signal conditioning circuit. And after signal conditioning circuit, NodeMCU is connected to interfacing device. But here interfacing device is not visible, but the data lines of the interfacing device are visible. SO, CS, CSK, VCC, ground, these are the interfacing device. That is called SPI, inter serial peripheral interface. I will discuss about the SPI in later slides. So this total hardware we can call it as one smart sensor. I will explain how to program this NodeMCU to connect any server, and I will show a demo video sending the data from NodeMCU to the server, and I will show you demo code for sending SMS to the mobile number from this NodeMCU using SMS server, bulk SMS server, and I will show how to enable smart gateway for smart sensors. The smart gateway means no need of having all these sensor nodes, having no need to have Wi-Fi module. We can take lower technologies like RF, and we can form local network. All this local network data can send to the smart gateway. This smart way can connect to main server, and it can upload it to main server from all the sensor data from all the sensors. So suppose if you take an example of smart water meter for smart cities. Assume in a city there is, if 500 households are there, if government wants to supply a smart water meter for each household, is it possible to have each smart meter Wi-Fi device? No, that is not possible. So that's why they are using the LoRa technology. LoRa technology can communicate up to 20 kilometers, right? And government is taking up the project with the help of the TCS. TCS is going to construct a tower in the middle of the city. It will act as a smart gateway. All the LoRa end nodes which are installed in each households can collect the data, water flow on each household, and send it to the smart gateway. The smart gateway connect to the grid, So like that we can connect multiple number of gateways with lesser hardware without having any Wi-Fi higher cost hardwares like Wi-Fi, Zigbee. Okay. Next, these are the some sensors. So the first part of the smart sensor circuitry is sensors. So sensor in working and everything. I think previous sessions they have discussed. I think, but I'm showing so some examples for the sensors: color sensor, gas sensor, LDR sensor. And these are the some sensor which we are using for to get the physical parameters of the weather or any soil and location. Okay. Next, in smart sensors, the next circuitry after the signal sensor is signal conditioning circuit. So what is the need of the signal conditioning circuit? Signal conditioning circuit is need where the sensors giving which sensor some sensors are giving output as in microvolts level, but normally microcontrollers can read millivolts level. So microvolts level voltage cannot be read by millivolts level microcontrollers. That's why to shift to voltage, to amplify the voltage from microvoltage to millivolts, signal conditioning circuits are used. Like sensors converts the physical parameters to electrical parameter using the transducer circuits, and signal conditioning circuit amplifies the microvoltage level to millivolts level, and this is feed to microcontroller interface device. Okay, so the main importance of the signal conditioning circuit is to amplify the microvoltage level signal to millivolts level, which is readable by the microcontroller. That's it. So this is something about signal conditioning circuit. The same signal, electrical signal. If microvoltage level electrical signal transfer through the cables or track on the PCB, the loss will be occur in the track in the cables or PCB tracks when reach to microcontroller interface device. So to avoid all this, we are having interface signal conditioning circuits. There are many ways to amplify the signals. So these are the some combinations, some examples. One method is amplification, and another method is attenuation, filtering, differentiation, integration, linearization, combination of measured signal with the reference signal, converting a resistance to voltage signal, converting a current signal to voltage signal, converting voltage signal to current signal, converting frequency signal to a voltage signal. If you take an example of RTD sensor, it will give output in the range of microvolts. To convert these microvolts to millivolts, we are using industrial bridge circuits. So using these methods, we can amplify or we can strengthen the weak signal to strong signal. These are the some characteristics of electrical signal, which are sensing from the sensors. Sorry. So the main of the conditioning circuit is to amplify the weak signal. So this is the amplification circuitry. If you give the input as Vi, you can get output with the multiplication of gain. Okay. Next, in smart sensor circuitry, sensing is done and conditioning, signal conditioning is over. The next one is processing circuit. The processing circuit collect the data from signal conditioning circuit or the interface devices. So what the interface importance of the interface device I can explain in the next slides. And after collecting the data from interface device, it can perform arithmetic and logical operations, and processing circuit can take the action like sending data to the server or activating the relays. So it is the main part. The programming also involved in this processing circuit only. So okay, so this is the microprocessor for processing of data which are collected from the sensor, like with the help of ALU, and sending to the output devices. We know alone microprocessor cannot take data from the sensor, or it cannot directly give the data to the output device. Because take an example, if a person knows English and if another person don't know English, they want to communicate with each other, then they need to go for the translators. And next, if a person is speaking very speed but another person is listening very slowly, then the listening person cannot get the data, cannot understand what speaking person saying. Okay, so like for that, to make the data coming from the sensor to understand by the microprocessor, there is the intermediate device is called interfacing device. It acts like a translator, it acts like a coordinator. Okay, without the interfacing device, we are calling it as a microprocessor. If all these circuitry and interface device are coming in a single SOC, that is, we are calling it as microcontrollers. In microcontroller, if you want to take the temperature from any temperature sensor to process with the microprocessor, you need external hardware like ADC or DAC external hardware you need to buy. If you go for the microcontroller, no need to buy any external hardware, because ADC or DAC and another digital communications, digital interface device are inbuilt in the microcontroller itself. So no need of having any additional circuitry for the microcontroller. So these are the main importance of the interfacing devices. First one is to match electrical parameters. Electrical parameters like sensor is, if you take UART communication terminal, computer terminal, that is TTL logic, but computers, microcontrollers are operating at, processors are operating at 3.3 volts logic. To match these electrical parameters, interface device is placed, and to match the speed, if microprocessor operating at 8 megahertz but sensor operates at 4 megahertz, the data transaction between the processor and sensor will be mismatched, right? To match the speed of sensor and processor, we are placing interface device, and to reduce the hardware complexity. So how we will reduce the hardware complexity, I will show in the next slides. With the help of the interfacing device, hardware complexity also reduced. I will show the hardware complexity, how it will reduce in the next slides. So these are the interfacing device generally using for the sensor programmings. Parallel communication, that is general purpose input output devices, and serial communication, UART, universal asynchronous synchronous receive transmitter, and I2C, inter-integrated circuit, and SPI, serial peripheral interface. There is another interfacing devices, but these are very popularly using for for interfacing the sensors and for interfacing communication devices like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, LoRa, anything, any. These are the general use interfaces. Okay. So these are the differences between the parallel and serial communications. In parallel communication, the speed is high because for each bit there is a separate line. See here in this to transfer 8-bit data, we have the 8 data lines. In single clock, all the data can transfer to transmitter, receiver side. Okay. But whereas in serial communication, only single line is there. Bit by bit processing is done. Bit by bit communication sent to the receiver. Okay. So these are some examples of serial communication. These are some examples of parallel communication. So requires it parallel communication requires more traces on PCB. Suppose if you want to send the 8-bit data, you need to track 8 traces on the PCB. So that is very difficult. Tracking 8 traces on PCB, it occupies the more space on the PCB, and it can generate EMF also, and it can act as on 2 side-by-side tracks can act as capacitors. It creates unexpected output. It can result in unexpected outputs. It is faster when compared to serial communication, and data transfer rate can be increased by increasing the number of connections. So these type of communication is used for communicating with RAMs, CPUs. Okay. So this is the one example for parallel communication. So we have 8 data pins for the LCD HD44780 16x2 display. We can use 4 bits for writing the data, and you can also use 8-bit also. To write the text, any text on the display, we have to use all these pins. In the next slide, we will see. So see, we have used so many wires for the communicating with the display. So this is the drawback with parallel communication. It's serial communication. In serial communication, it is the point-to-point communication. You are having the 2 lines and additional ground and VCC supply for transmitter and receiver. RX, TX, we should make zigzag connection to transmit data from transmitter to receiver. So this is TTL logic, RS-232. So data transfer between the transmitter and receiver takes place in the UART is first starting bit and next data bits and the next stop bit. This is the data flow follows this. Okay. In serial communication, we can adjust the baud rate, and before establishing the communication, the transmitter and the receiver must be set on the same data baud rate and the data bits length. We have to say data bits and parity bits are to set. If you set all this, if the transmitter and the receiver are set with the same parameters, then only they can communicate. See, this is the hardware circuitry for UART GPS module. This one is the GPS module using just 2 lines, RX and TX lines and VCC ground. the GPS module RX connected to Arduino TX line, and the GPS module TX line will connect to RX lines. Okay. So these are the some functional functions for writing the program in serial for UART, serial available, write, read, serial print. I will explain in details in the coming slides. So this is an example for GPS module. So this will also I will explain in the coming slides. And there is another serial communication which are important widely using nowadays, I2C and SPI. So I2CI is a two-wire communication, SPI is the four-line communication. In I2C, SD and SCL lines are there. SDA means serial data and serial clock. SCL means serial clock. In SPI, we are using the four data lines: MISO, MOSI, clock, and chip selection lines. MISO is master in, slave out. MOSI is master out, slave in. Master want to send data to the slave. MOSI is used. Clock line, and SS, that is chip selection line. In I2C, we can connect 120 device on the single I2C bus at a time. If you are using 7-bit address, if we are using 10-bit address, we can connect more 1024 devices on single I2C bus. I2C and SPI both are the master and slave paradigm. You can increase any number of means depending on the address lines. We can connect that many number of slaves on I2C bus. Suppose if we are using 7-bit address, 127 slaves we can connect on single I2C bus, and on the same bus there can be a multiple masters and there can be multiple slaves. But in SPI, we have to connect chip selection pin for each slave. So that's why for each slave we are increasing one GPI, we are using extra GPI. Whereas in I2C we are not using any extra GPI lines. GPI only two lines as DSCL lines and ground and VCC. But in MOSI, if you increase slaves, number of slaves, the GPU is also increased and so complexity of the hardware is increased. So we'll see one by one in details. So I2C is the, at a time it can transfer 1 bit, and it sends the data in 8-bit format. And first bit, it's I2C master will communicate, master will initiate the communication between the master and slave. Slave means any sensor, master is microcontroller. Master will initiate the clock or baud rate to the slaves, and master will send first 7-bit address of slave. If there are n number of slaves, if master wants to communicate with nth slave, it will send this address of nth slave address. These addresses are unique. So it will send the address of the slave on the I2C line, and all the slaves inquires and respond with their address. And if the address not belongs to any slave, they just can skip. After finding the address of the slave will give the acknowledgement to the master, and master will send the data read write operations from where, if master want to read the data from internal register of slave, it will send internal register address, and the slave will respond with that internal register data. And like this I2C communication will happen with the help of the unique addresses on your multiple slaves. it requires only 2 lines, the serial data lines, serial clock lines. So see, this is the I2C wiring. Slave 1, slave 2 and slave 3, only 2 lines, and extra VCC grounds are common. So if master wants to send data to I2C 1, it has to send the address of slave. These address we can find in these sensors data sheets. I will show one sensor data sheet that is SI7021 at the end of the session. And each I2C slave has the internal register with specific addresses. We can read the internal register values with their addresses only. So suppose master want to send the data to slave 2, it has to send the address of slave 2 like this. We can add up to 127 slaves on a single data bus. These data lines by default, these are the high. We have to add pull-up registers. Pull-up registers mean driving high. By default, SDL and SCLs are the high. When our master wants to communicate with the slave, the data line and clock line goes to low, and master will send the address like this. So this is one of the example. See, sensor I2C. Sensor address is this one 045, and why it begin is I2C begin. I2C, so for each interface to operate, we need to initialize those data lines as I2C data lines. In nowadays, microcontrollers are coming with multiplex pinning. That means, say, one GPIO can be used as general purpose IO, or it can be used as RX pin in UART, or it can be used as MIS or MOSI line in SPI, or it can be used as in SDRL, SCL line in I2C. So that's why, to avoid to perform I2C communication, we need to initialize that GPIO first as I2C data lines and I2C clock lines. At a time, any GPIO can works as single function, can perform any single function only. Okay, and we have to enable I2C interface power also. By calling this wire.begin or I2C.begin, we will initialize the I2C module in the microcontroller. We will enable the power supply to the I2C module, and we will initialize the GPIOs as SDL and SCL lines. And serial.begin is the 9600 is the baud rate. Serial.begin means UART.begin. It is equal to UART.begin. We are initializing the serial port for seeing the messages on the serial port. After initializing, I2C is transmitting slave address, sensor I2C address. So 045 is the slave address. It transmitting the 045 address, and it is writing the write operation with this command to the internal register of the I2C. So this one is the flow for writing data. And see, request from we are asking data from 045 device slave and 1 byte of data. So if any data is read, wire.read and I2C.read is the function. We are reading data from the slave. So like this, so software you can write. Next, SPI communication. So in SPI communication, we have the 3 lines and additional ground and VCC, MISO, MOSI, clock, and chip selection. Chip selection is used for like I2C in SPI. There is no addressing. The only chip selection pin. We can connect n number of slaves on a I2C SPI bus. By enabling SPI chip selection pin, we can communicate with that particular slave So suppose if you want to communicate with the SPI one, we need to enable that chip selection SS1. Then we can directly communicate with slave one, and other slaves are in inactive modes. So like this, if you add a number of slaves, the GPS number also increases. Okay. So this is the one example, one of the example for SPI. Chip selection pin is GPI number 4 I use. This is a UART. SPI.begin, same in I2C.begin. Here we are enabling the SPI interface device power supply, and we are configuring the GPIs as SPI line data lines, and the chip selection pin we are assigning it as output device, the output GPIO. Here we are enabling making the chip selection line high. By default, all the slaves chip selection pins are high, and by making the chip selection pin low, we can select that particular slave. So here I am disabling that chip selection line and transmitting the data with baud rate, and we can transmit the data MSB first, LSB first. We have to say, we have to configure which data, which bit we are sending the first, and so this is the transmitting method. And okay, after transmission is done, we are going to end the transaction and making the GPIO high. So in this way, by enabling the chip selection pin, you can select the particular slave. Actually, I show you on diagram for making display, for connecting the display to Arduino with a parallel connection. I have so many lines. See, I will see. They see how many wires are there. But if you use I2C communication, the required hardware is very less. Just 2 and the VCC grounds, VCC power supply lines. So with the help of interfacing device, we are reducing the hardware and tracing and wire connections. We are reducing the complexity of the wiring. In sensor circuitry, and the last one is communication devices. Communication devices, there are so many methods: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, RFID, and coming cellular technology, 3G, 5G, and recently LoRa, Sigfox. These are the present technologies. So these are the x-axis is the distance they can communicate, and the y-axis is the power consumption. See, LoRa is more covering the more distance, and power consumption is very less. So these are the communication devices. So the importance of the communication device for the smart sensor is to send the data to the server, or to communicate and establish the local network, and forming the local sensor network, and collecting the data and sending it to the cloud. So generally we will use Wi-Fi as communication device in every smart sensor. Next, this is all about sensor, smart sensor hardware. So if you have an idea about the hardware, then only you can write the program. So the overview of the smart sensor circuit involves sensing sensors, signal conditioning circuit, interface device, microprocessors, and communication device. To communicate with interface device, or to communicate with the communication circuit, the processor need interface device. With the help of the interface device, it can take the data from the sensors, and it can send the data to the cloud using the communication device. Generally, the interface device used for communication device is SPA and UART. UART commonly used. I think you all you have an idea of GSM module, and GSM module connect to microcontroller through UART using UART, and Wi-Fi module also some Wi-Fi module working on UART. Some most of the Wi-Fi modules working with SPA. So the previous company which I have worked in Red Silicon Labs, Red Pine Signals, they are designing a chipset with microcontroller core and Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee in a single chip, and their competitor, this Node MC is the cheap cost. They actually they are giving only Wi-Fi and microcontroller part, but the development is going on to design high-end microcontroller to perform all the processing and communication, to establish the communication for the smart sensors. So this is all about till now I discussed about the hardware, and if you know if you have the hardware and you have the schematic, then the next task is writing the software, developing the firmware. We have to use some debugging techniques in to rectify the schematic errors or hardware errors. We will use generally in industry multimeters and oscilloscopes and logic analyzers. So the function of the logic analyzer is very good to debug the hardware issues. I show you to check the I2C data lines transaction and the SPA data line transaction or UTC data line transaction. There is a company called Sealey Logic Analyzer is there. They are giving good UI, and we can collect the data from the data lines of I2C SPA data lines, and it can use as nice GUI in the nice GUI, like which data is transferred from master to slave, and how slave is reacted, whether it gives acknowledgement or it acknowledges negative acknowledgement, or say the total data transaction between the master and slave. We can view with the logic analyzers. The same way we can check that SPA also. So if you want to debug any hardware, we have to understand about the functioning of the multimeter and oscilloscope and logic analyzers. These are the very good friends, because hardware can't talk. Firmware can write and can write, and we can erase n number of times, but hardware not like that. If you make any PCB, you cannot change in future. So if you want to make, you need to go for the new PCB, right? So that's why before going to manufacturing of PCB, we need to check the schematic thoroughly. If it is okay, then only we have to go. If any hardware faults, if you write any firmware, it will not react, and it cannot say I have this problem. Okay. So before going to develop any firmware, a developer must need the knowledge on hardware, and he must be able to understand the schematics, and must be able to find out the faults in the hardware. Okay. So next, firmware development needs tools like compilers. We write in the C or C++ very high-hand codes, but microcontrollers can't understand that language. So they can understand only 0-1 language, binary language. So this high-hand language can be we have to convert the compiler to hexadecimal code. The hexadecimal code is loading to microcontroller flash memory. So the programs, the loaded operations, loaded code executed in the flash memory. So here, before going to the programming, I would like to explain the memory concept of in microcontroller. There is flash memory and SDRAM memory. If you write the code in the tool in the IDE integrated development environment, any IDE, and background, it will generate hexadecimal code, and the hexadecimal code can load into microcontroller flash memory with the help of programmers or the help of inter ICDS, in circuit system programming. Once the program execution and programming done in the flash memory, microcontroller will reset and it tries to execute the code in the flash memory. Once, if power supply is suddenly gone for the microcontroller, then it will raise an exception, external interrupt like power reset interrupt will occur, and it will write all the data in the flash memory to the SDRAM memory. So SDRAM memory will be there. If there is no power supply, it can retain the data in SDRAM, right? And now the power supply is on for the microcontroller. It has the boot up sequence, and some users are writing their own boot up bootloaders. These bootloaders try to execute the code which is residing in the flash memory, and this bootloader has the timer. It will wait for the threshold timer to execute any program on the flash memory is there to execute. If there is no any program, any executable codes in flash memory, then it tries to write the data. It tries to data from SDRAM memory, and it write back to the flash memory. So if you observe any program, once we write only one time we can write, and it can execute any number of times by resetting the power, right? So if I write the code in the microcontroller memory, it can retain in years, right? So that is the background work involved in firmware development. So see, we are writing the C code here, C or C++ code. The compiler will generate hexadecimal code. With the help of programmers, we are programming the microcontroller. We are accessing the microcontroller of flash memory and writing the flash memory or code to flash memory. So we have the different programmers, JTAG, SimSysDAP programmer, and mainly industry using JTAG and SimSysDAP, Segger, JTAG, Seggers. All these are the programmers, and every microcontroller manufacturer is providing ICDS, integrated in-system programming method. It doesn't need any extra programmer like JTAG and SimSysDAP. We can just connect RxTX lines to system UART port, system USB port, and there is a reset pin. If you press that reset pin, it will go into that programming mode. If any data coming from USB port, it will write in the flash memory. So without a program also, we can write the program into flash memory with the help of in-system circuit programming. So before writing the program, we need to make friendship with any of the tools like Keil, Arduino, MPLAB XID, QCOX, LPC Expresso, IAR, So there is so many tools. Each and every microcontroller manufacturer giving their own tools. If you want to write a STM microcontroller program, you need to know about the MPLAB XID tool. If you want to write a LPC 1768 or LPC series NXP boards, NXP microcontroller, you need to LPC Express. You need to know about LPC Express. So Keel is a universal, but some microcontroller manufacturers not supporting this Keel tool. So first, before going to purchase any microcontroller for a smart sensor, we need to know about these also. Which tool we are going to use, whether it is freely available for using the, or we need to buy, we need to purchase for the license. So Keel is the licensed version we need to purchase, and MPLAB XID is also LPC Express and IR also we need to purchase. Arduino is the best, but industrial purpose Arduino is is not recommended. As far as the student projects, it is good. So we need to understand any compiling to compilers tools before going to write a project. Okay, now I'll start the examples. Actually, I have the board. In case it is visible, this board. This is an NodeMCU board. I will write the programs and execute. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. The first code is HTTP post with processing ID with live demo. The processing ID is similar to Arduino ID. First, I will explain the Arduino ID tools. So this is the Arduino IDE. Generally, in Arduino IDE, we will call it as in C we will call main function, but in Arduino they are calling sketch. In sketch, wide setup and wide loop. Wide setup is similar to into wide main, wide main, and wide loop is similar to while function. In while loop function, any instruction you wrote, it will loop infinitely. Okay, here we have a file. In file, you can create a new project. You can create open and open recent projects, and you will find some examples related to Arduino and some related to NodeMCU. Why I select these tool means this is a tool, everything is available, all the functionals, all the communication functions are available. In communication, you need to establish connection between your NodeMCU Wi-Fi module to gateway. Like gateway is the router, and in industry that is called as access point, and then the device which is connecting to the access point is called as station. So in NodeMCU we have the microcontroller and the Wi-Fi, both are on a single chip. So we can collect the data from the sensor with the help of microcontroller, and we can send the data to the cloud with the help of Wi-Fi device. So that's why I selected. And there is another tools also there, but it is very easy, and it is very easy to learn. Every function is available. You just making your code according to your application. You have to call those functions. Okay. So after writing the code, you have the option for compiling. If you write any error code, it will show the error messages, and here you need to select the board. So actually this IDE can support so many vendors microcontrollers. Actually Arduino is designed for Atmega boards, Atmega 328P PPU, and there is so many series there in Atmega. but with the ease of using and by saying this use of using easiness, other manufacturers also ported their codes into this IDE, and it is very easy to explain also. We need to change the boards. See here all the boards which it can, this IDE can support. My board is NodeMCU board, so that is already selected. So board is NodeMCU selected, and NodeMCU have the one USB port on the board. If you connect that USB port to our computer USB terminal, it will enumerate communication serial port, and you need to select that port. So I told you, after compiling and after compiling the program and creating the hexadecimal code, it will write the hexadecimal code to the microcontroller flash through that USB. Here we are providing the port numbers. COM6 is the port which I connected to my NodeMCU board. With the help of this COM port, the executable hexadecimal code will load it into NodeMCU microcontroller flash memory. Okay. After setting all these things, you can compile and write the programs. Okay. And I have the another tool also, that is QCOX. I'll show. And one more thing is, the same processing ID is there. With the processing ID, you can program Arduino, and it can create a nice Windows application, and you can create on Android application also. APK files also you can generate. So the programming of processing ID, this is the processing ID. The programming of processing ID is similar to programming of Arduino ID. You can create anything here. You can create Windows.exe, exe file, exe code, and Arduino Android.apk files. So see, by selecting here Android and everything, you can create. If you write any code here, it will automatically generate the .exe and apk. So this can be used for creating the smart sensor gateway. For this smart sensor gateway, you can collect the data from the USB port, and you can send the data to the server. Actually, in morning session, Babuji sir explained about the ThinkSpeak, sending the data to the cloud, and I don't know whether he explained about retrieving the data from the cloud. ThinkSpeak. Actually, I have an account in the ThinkSpeak. When you have an account, you can you create any channel, and you will get channel ID. My channel ID is already, I executed this code. My channel ID is this one, and I am going to updating the field number 37, field 1 with the 36, and if you want you can change the number. So in the field 1, we can place the sensor values, like if you want to update the temperature value, you can place any value. If you want to update to the server, you can place in field 1 or field 2, field 3 by configuring your channel. If you configure a field 1, 2, 3, 4 up, you can update any number of field values in the processing ID. And the processing ID, advantage of the processing ID is, you don't need any extra hardware of Wi-Fi for HTTP post and get. With the help of it use the network which is connected to CPU, which is connected, our CPU is connected to network. Then it use the same network to the HTTP post or HTTP get. What is this HTTP post and get means? The post is operation used for the data sending to the server, and get is the data getting data from the server. So what is server? This Wi-Fi communication is established with the help of TCP. Works like TCP client server paradigm. All these handshaking mechanism, TCP handshaking mechanism can be visible with the help of Wireshark tool. Wireshark tool. So in Wireshark tool, we can see the data transactions, initial data transactions from client server. Before data transmission, actual data transmission, there is a separate handshaking mechanism for TCP client server. So these TCP client server data transactions can be visible on the Wireshark tool. You can snip which type of data we are transmitting. The data also we can see with the help of the snipping tool. Okay, snipper is the hardware, and Wireshark is computer GUI. In computer GUI, with the help of snipping tool, you can view the 2.5 gigahertz frequency or 5 gigahertz frequency transactions. Okay, so this processing ID can used for communication between the server. We can create smart gateway without having any external Wi-Fi device. It use Wi-Fi. It use Wi-Fi device which is in our CPU. Just if you assume you formed we formed any local network with three or four LoRa modules. One LoRa module acts as a master, and another three LoRa devices will act as end nodes. The sensing data at end nodes will transmit it to this receiver. This receiver will send the data to the processing ID with the help of serial port. The collected data from the serial port will be transmitted to the cloud by using this HTTP GET request. See, I already wrote this code and executed to save my time. This is like a setup. The screen, the size is the GUI size. After executing this code, one GUI will open. The GUI width and heights are we are mentioning, and import HTTP dot request. This is the Java like code, and I'm importing Wi-Fi device. I'm accessing the Wi-Fi device which is inside our say computer, and just sending the data to the cloud with yes, this is the URL, and this is the field I want to update field 1. After get request, we will get the data back with the help of get.send. We are checking whether it is successfully transmitted to server or not. These are the print lines, are the serial lines, serial COM port lines. Here I am printing the get data from server. So see, field 1 is I am going to update. So ThinkSpeak updated at 1:22 p.m. If I execute this code, on background the code will execute, and see the GUI is open like this. You can add images. You can place a serial port selection. I didn't place any images. If you want to see the graphs or anything, it is like a 3D tool. You can see, you can insert 3D images also. See, the response is coming from the server is response content 372, and header length is 3. This is the response, and see, you will see whether it is updated or not. See, 250 is I sent just now, 342. So the data is sent without, I didn't use any hardware, just using the processing ID you can send. You don't need any Wi-Fi or if you need if you have Bluetooth or if you have RF, if you have any LoRa module, you can form local network, and you can create any one of them as gateway. From Ender nodes, you can send data to this gateway. This gateway will send data to this processing IDE through the USB port, and this processing ID using with the help of the GET request, HTTP post request, it will update the data to the server. And the same thing we can get back from the server also with the help of this get.send. Okay, this is the best tool for creating gateway level or gateway type of applications. And this the programming of the programming style is similar to Arduino. So, and we have some, they are providing some examples also, so we can see examples. If you want to demos, they are providing demos. If you have any free time, then just go and check this. Okay, that is about without hardware how we can post we can post to the server. That is a demo. And next, NodeMCU serial prints. So serial print means in NodeMCU we have the microcontroller also. So just I'm writing the code to check whether the data is coming on my serial port or not. Just I prepared the codes because we have the less time. Otherwise, it will take only one program to explain writing and saying. And we have another type of examples also there. NodeMCU EEPROM, NodeMCU clearing, and with the help of the NodeMCU, we can send the data to the ThinkSpeak server also, and we can send the data to our mobile phone also. We can control LEDs on the NodeMCU with the help of our mobile phone. We can create NodeMCU as access point, and we can connect NodeMCU access point with password and without password, and push button mode. If you check your mobile phones, in mobile phones, while you go to hotspot threading, there you can find mobile securities. In mobile securities, there are different type of securities, and push button technique also is there. Whenever the station wants to connect with the access point, we need to push the button on the same time on the access point and station mode. So access point is the router which is connected to the network, and station is the client. It will connect to the routers, and it can send the data to the stations. So stations send the data to the client. So see, this is the NodeMCU serial debug code. Serial.begin is the UART.begin. It's like UART.begin. Here we are mentioning that baud rate 9600 UART.begin. In UART.begin, we are creating those GPIOs RxTX as a RxTX lines, and we are enabling the power supplies of the UART. Okay. In infinity mode, I am writing serial.println and print and println. There are so many functions with this type. Println means it will print with a new line. If you don't mention the print ln, it will print serial prints will come in a single line. Okay, just I will load the code. It will take some time because the compilation takes so many libraries, Wi-Fi libraries. So meanwhile, we can communicate, we can form the local networks with the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, and RF modules also. If you want to send the data to the external device, external clients, you must need the Wi-Fi module. Okay. Before loading to the program, you need to select this COM port and you need to select this board. After executing this code, the serial port messages will come on the serial monitor. We need to set the baud rate of serial monitor to 9600. Otherwise, we cannot understand those messages. Okay. And like this, we have so many examples provided in this Arduino tools for blinking LED. Blinking LED means accessing, writing the logic high 0 on the GPU, particular GPU IOs. You can see that those codes in examples. So here we have so many examples. All these examples will not run on the Node MCU, but only examples which are providing under the Node MCU will execute. So see, there is so many examples provided. So see, you can execute any example and you can see the outputs by providing the proper hardware. And Node MCU consisting of EEPROM also, electrical erasable programmable read-only memory, and 1 byte of one byte data can be placed in one memory address, and it can retain till we erase. So we have the EEPROM clear, EEPROM read, and EEPROM write. With the help of EEPROM write, we can write 1 byte of data in one in particular address in the EEPROM. With the help of EEPROM read, we can read data which is written on the address line and we can make the address to 0. See, we have so many examples. And HTTP client, basic HTTP client, HTTPS. There is a difference between HTTP client and HTTPS client. There is a server called Twilio, and we are using a ThinkSpeak. ThinkSpeak is HTTP client, HTTP server, and Twilio is HTTPS server. So the difference, if you want to write data fields on HTTPS server, we need to load certificate, HTTPS SSL certificate in our module and in our Wi-Fi module, and server and client will have to exchange this HTTP SSL certificate before establishing the communication between the client and server. If SSL certificate matches with the server SSL certificate, then only server accept the data from the client. Otherwise, it won't accept the data from the clients. So that is a very high security, very high secure. HTTP servers are very high secure. We need to get the permission from the server managements. For the HTTP, there is no need of SSL certificate exchange. You can simply just send the data to their server. So where is that? Still it is compiling. It will take the time. And see, next after next serial, we need to see the EEPROM clear. EEPROM clear means we are going to clear particular address in the EEPROM of the Node MCU. I'm writing, you can see, but it is taking so much time. I will do one thing, I will explain the codes and LED blinking. Wi-Fi, creating the access point, Wi-Fi access point without password, with password, and there is a code for sending the SMS. I will show. So just I showed in the processing IDE for sending the data to the ThinkSpeak. We can send the data to the ThinkSpeak with the help of Wi-Fi module also. So for this is the code. For that, we need to create Node MC as station mode. We need station. So for the station, we have the two. We have SSID. If it is our router is if router is a secure one, and the we need to provide the router's password. And my router SSID is Wise and password is this one. That the host we need to provide the host URL and host URL and host port number. The default port number is 80. I think everyone knows this one. So here we are providing the port number. So first, just I'm creating the serial communication to see the serial prints on the serial monitor, and Wi-Fi.begin with SSID and password. I think that code is done. See, actually the baud rate is 11,500, but I have to set with 9,600. Yeah, the messages are coming. Please maintain the silence. So, like this, we can debug. In Node MCU, the importance of the serial prints are very crucial while writing the program, because we can't go for the debugging because there is no programmer like JTAG and Genesis DAP for programming this microcontroller. So if is there any error or any malfunctioning in your code, you want to check, you need to place the serial prints in your firmware. With the help of the serial prints only, you can find up to which case it is working, your firmware is working. These are all used for debugging your firmware. It will help. Okay, so we have to set baud rate and simple. Writing this code is very simple in Node MCU, right? Okay, the next. We'll post a message. We'll post the data to the ThinkSpeak cloud with this code. So just I'm by calling this function Wi-Fi.begin means under the Wi-Fi.begins there is a interface initialization of interface will be done, and enabling the interface power supply is done, and setting the GPIO parameters as a SPI. Actually, in a Node MCU, the communication interface between the microcontroller, microprocessors, and Wi-Fi microcontroller and Wi-Fi device is SPI. By calling this function, we are initializing the SPI module, SPI interface, and we are saying you need to connect to this router with the SSID and password, with the provided SSID and password. Here we are providing SSID and password. Next, this is the checking of connection status, whether it is connected or not. We are checking. If Wi-Fi module not connected to not connected to the router, it will give the dotted lines. And if it is successfully connected to the router, it will print with the IP address. After connecting the Node MCU Wi-Fi module to router, it will get a local IP address, and we can see the local IP address with the help of serial prints. Meanwhile, I will upload, and next we need to establish a TCP client. We need to establish TCP socket, and we are creating client. Here we are client, and we are connecting to connect client.connect HTTP host and HTTP port. We are connecting to ThinkSpeak server with the port number and the URL. This means we are establishing TCP connection between our NodeMCU Wi-Fi module and ThinkSpeak server. So if it connects to fails, it will return the connection failure. These are the serial prints for debugging purpose I raised, and I am updating the integer number I with starting with 0 up to 5. This is the URL which we used in the processing ID for updating the field number 1, and here is the I value I am placing, and it will post 5 times to the ThinkSpeak server. If we execute this code, it will post 5 times, and we need to check the response from the HTTP server. Otherwise, it will NodeMCU will be in hang mode. That is why it will execute only one time. It will post to the ThinkSpeak server. Okay. So in the same way, you can place SMS server. The URL, I will show the URL for that SMS posting. Actually, I have the URL for SMS sending. I have bulk SMS service provider server link. So we need to get this URL. We need to pay. We need to pay to the service provider, SMS service provider. We need to pay. These are the paid services. Code is uploading. Yes. Yes, it is connected to ThinkSpeak. We'll check data is updated or not. Yeah, see. So one is updated to the ThinkSpeak server at time 4:1 p.m. Like this, if you want, you can update any sensor values. You can place sensor value in the place of I value, and you can use this code to post the HTTP to close the ThinkSpeak server. Okay. The same way, this is the URL for sending SMS. So the server is longitude utility. We need to pay the I paid for 1,000 rupees. You will get a 3,000 SMS. You can use 3,000 SMS. Actually, the fields are these things. Message. From here you can message. You can type your message. Whatever the message you type, and you need to give the number also here, mobile number, for which number you want to send. Sorry. You need to provide the number. In the same way, you can use Twilio server. So this code will execute for all the HTTP server. Just you need to change that URL and port numbers. That's it. Okay. Uh, just I show you the two examples. Without Wi-Fi module, we communicated to the ThingSpeak server, and with the hardware, with Wi-Fi hardware, we communicated to the ThingSpeak server. For this, we use I use a microcontroller for communicating with the Wi-Fi module, and one router to connect to the external internet. The Wi-Fi module is connected to the router with the help of commands, AT commands from the microcontroller through the SPI communication. We use AT commands. I think everyone knows that AT commands for GSM module for sending SMS and all. So I will show one code for the GSMS SMS sending codes. With the help of this with the help of bulk SMS sending provider, we have created one smart sensor for security purpose, house monitoring and shops monitoring. Just we placed one sensor to detect the human being. If any human being entered, it will detect the presence of human being, and that sensor give the data to this microcontroller. A microcontroller will take the HTTP request, HTTP post, and there we used bulk SMS server and bulk. They are providing the calling service also. If you place this device and go went for any occasion, just if any person enter into the house, it will send the message to the house owner, and it will make the call also, and it will we are enabling one relay to enable the alarm. It will make the sound, it will make the alarm, and it will enable all the lights in the house, and it is enabling the power supply to the smart camera. That camera is connected to the house owner's mobile phone. Whenever the house owner got the call from this number, he will open the smart camera app, and he will see what is happening in the house or shop. So that is working very good. Like this, we can create small smart sensor applications. So, with the help of Wi-Fi module, using AT commands from microcontroller to Wi-Fi module connected to router. Router is connected to external world. With the help of HTTP command, we send data to the ThingSpeak server. Okay, but in processing ID, we didn't use any hardware. Just use the system hardware, system Wi-Fi hardware, and there we can collect the data of sensor from USB port, and collected data can be transmitted to the Twilio server with the help of the computer's Wi-Fi module to the server. Okay, next. And by using the same HTTP post application, we can use the same sending SMS, calling the mobile GSM mobile without the GSM modules. With the help of only Wi-Fi module, we can make the calls to GSM network by bulk SMS with the help of the bulk SMS service providers. Okay. So next we'll see these are the general applications of the Wi-Fi modules, NodeMCU module. EEPROM, read, write. I think no need to. I will show the examples. I will not execute, but I will explain the codes. in the starting session of this, I told you I will show the registers of digital sensor, that is SI7021, which will work on the I2C module, I2C interface. For I2C interface, see, this is the temperature and humidity digital sensor. So it has GPIOs like SDA, SCL for the I2C communication, ground and VCC. To get the temperature and humidity values, we need to communicate with this sensor by providing with the help of their address register and internal register addresses. So this is the data transaction between the master and slave, start bit and slave address, read or write sequence, acknowledgement, next address, internal register address, measurement command, acknowledgement, start like this. For each and every digital sensors, there is a serial number. We can find that serial number also by using who am I command. Who am I command means there is a separate register to know the serial number of that device. By issuing that by issuing that say, register address, we can get that serial number. The programmer will start with that one to know whether the communication is established between the sensor and the microcontroller is what is that? See, all these are the registers. So this is the internal register of SI7021. If you use this address E5, you can get the measure relative humidity with the whole master mode. These are the some commands for resetting the SI7021. If you use this command, it will reset the whole module. And to know device IDs, electronic IDs, we need to use these two addresses. And for each and every digital sensor, there will be the firmware. To find that firmware, you can use this. Like this, for each and every digital sensor or the I2C based sensor, we have the internal register values. Okay. So this is the example for clearing the memory. Just address EEPROM begin. Actually, this is a 512 byte of memory is available on the Node MCU board. We are initializing 512 memory locations with the help of EEPROM.begin. This EEPROM module also accessed by the microcontroller with the help of I2C module. We can program external EEPROM modules also with the help of I2C. Most of the EEPROM devices are communicated with the I2C interface only. So EEPROM.begin means we are initializing that my Node MCU microcontroller GPUs I2C lines and powering the I2C module. The EEPROM.write means I2C write. I2C write, we are writing the address, and where we are writing the value. Value is default, we are making it as 0. If you want to write any value other than 0, you can place the value. You can place that value and you can execute this code. This means we are writing 0 value on the address line of A. 8 is the address of that register, EEPROM register. Okay. So same write option of write EEPROM write also like this only. Just we will write, we will change this value with the required value, and EEPROM read is getting the value from the EEPROM address, which we stored with the write function. So these are very commonly used applications. And next, I will show you access point mode. Access point means we are creating NodeMCU as a router. So we can connect up to 11 stations to the NodeMCU module, and it is the node will be created in a 2.4 gigahertz frequency. NodeMCU can't support 5 gigahertz frequency. It cannot connect to 5 gigahertz frequencies. It only it only operates at 2.4 gigahertz. It only allows stations with 2.4 gigahertz. In our some mobiles, in some mobiles, 5 gigahertz band also available. So if the setting is done with like that, it cannot connect. See, here we are assigning for each router we need to assign SSID. And we are providing the server. We can create server also in the same router address location. And see, this is serial UART related stuff. Just I'm loading. So we are creating the software API access point with the SSID only. If you are going to provide security, you can add SSID and password, and you can create static IP also. Hello, sir.
Sir, are you done, sir?
Just a few slides. I will share the all the codes to PVPV, and this is the creating soft API, the SSID. We can create secured mode also by providing password, and by providing IP address we can create like this. We can create the station mode also for the NodeMCU with password, without password, and with the push button mode we can create. By creating station mode we can post data to the servers, and by creating access point mode we can enable the smart gateway, and we can control the devices which are connected to NodeMCU board from our mobile phone in access point mode. The mobiles which are connected to access point, you can able to open the base 192.168.4.2. This IP address is dynamically alerted. We can open the web page, and from where you can provide the options like bulb on, fan on, anything you can place. And if you press that button on the IP address, the data will comes to NodeMCU, and we can write the code to take the necessary action, whether whether relay power on or fans, AC control, anything you can control. there is some examples like we can there is a Nodams you Blinky app is there. There they are providing power supply, power LEDs on, lights on, rotation and everything. These are the examples. And there is some advantages for the smart sensors. The main advantage is we can see the output and we can take the smart sensor can take the decision compared to the conventional sensors. There is some disadvantage also is there. The main disadvantage is security. Anyone can hack this server. If anyone hack the server, he can has the control on our home appliances or anything. He can do anything. And these are the some applications. There is industrial and automobile fingerprint recognition. In industrial, there is huge requirement of the smart sensors, and automobiles also required smart sensor. So, and the pattern recognition. With the pattern recognition, most of the engineering colleges will conduct the racings of robots by providing predefined pattern at the server side. The robot can connect to the server and it will take the pattern, predefined pattern, and it will execute the same pattern at the race inside. And in telecommunication also there is and smart toys and smart dust. For the smart cities there is a smart sensor requirement is used. And in defense also smart sensor applications are using. And with this I am winding the session. The main thing is the programming of smart sensor is involved because they are using microcontroller for collecting the data, and from collecting the data they are taking the necessary action and they are sending the data to this clouds. That's it. If anyone have the doubt, you can ask me the question. Hello.
Any queries, please post it in the chat box. Participants are requested, if there are any queries, please you can post them in the chat box. Right. So I would like to convey a vote of thanks, Sir Mr. D. Ramesh sir from Red Test Silicon Labs. He has given us an excellent talk on embedded programming for smart sensors. Sir, you have enlightened the session, made the session very interesting, spoke about the Arduino later, leading the programmings, communication, microprotocols, interpose. You have touched almost different peripherals with different topics related to all the Arduino and peripherals, including GSM module, Wi-Fi module, etc., microcontroller device, etc. Then you have also covered ThinkSpeak software, cloud technology. Then you have compiled tools of Creel, Arduino, MPLAB, etc. And then you have also covered with applications, advantages, disadvantages of various aspects as a complete package, sir. Thank you very much for highlighting the session. And all the participants are expected to work out the follow-up research in this area. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Ramesh garu.
And I would like to say thanks to the management for giving these great opportunities. And if it is a live session, it is good to take the hands-on session. But
all the participants, I request all the participants to enable your cams so that we would like to have a screenshot of all the participants. I request all the participants to enable your cams. Ramesh garu, please switch off your presentation. Stop. Switch off.
Mic, sir. You want to switch off the mic?
Presentation. Switch off your presentations. Remove your presentation.
Okay.
All the participants are requested to just enable your cams. We'll have a screenshot That's the end of the session. Please switch, enable your cams, please, all of you. Sir, Sandeep. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Ramesh Garu, and thank you all the participants. And waiting for from you for tomorrow's session at the same time as usual at 10 o'clock. Thank you all the participants for your patient
Thank you.
hearing. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ramesh Garu.
Thank you.
Bye. Sir.